Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is an amazing Monday, a magnificent Monday. We having a blessed day in the Lord on this morning. It is 9:02 a.m. Central Standard Time, and it is a privilege to be back with you guys. Good morning, Deanna Ward. Thank you so much for coming in the room this morning. I appreciate you. Good morning, my fellow Facebook user. Thank you for coming in the room. My name is Laquita Monley, and I am super excited to be with you guys again on this morning. It is such a privilege. Let me take a moment to thank Fancy and the Swag Her family and team for allowing me this wonderful privilege of being able to come to you guys on the Swag Her community Facebook page right here on Facebook every Monday morning at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, as well as every Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. Deanna, you know I'm glad to see you here, my sister. You always have such great input into the conversations. So I can't wait to see what you share with us this morning. Grand Rising Heaven, thank you so much for coming in the room. I appreciate my Laquita's Toolbox community as well. Those of you in the Laquita's Toolbox community that are joining me across the various social media platforms, those of you that are tuning in, I see some of you tuning in from LinkedIn, from YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. And it's, of course, right in my group, Laquita's Toolbox, here on Facebook as well. Thank you guys for coming into the room. I appreciate you all on this morning. This morning, we're going to be talking about one of my favorite principles from John Maxwell's book. Know if you guys can see this 15, 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. And I will be teaching from this book in an upcoming mastermind at the beginning of 2023. February, first week of February, will start my 5-week mastermind program. And I've been sharing just some tips and tools that we need for growth from this. And if you've been enjoying that, please consider joining me and the group that I'll be working with in February for the mastermind 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. I'll be dropping those links in the chat as well. But today we're going to be talking about the law of environment. Good morning, Darlene. Thank you so much for coming in. I appreciate you. Thank you for sharing. So glad that you're finding value in the conversations that we're having. And on this morning, we're talking about the law of environment. And basically, what that is really self explanatory. Our environments that we find ourselves in can play a big role in our success, or a big role with the lack of success that we have. But as we've all heard before, it doesn't matter where you come from, it simply matters where you end up at. So, what does that mean for us? That we as individuals are responsible for creating the changes that we need in our lives in order to reach our growth goals. We must be responsible for the changes that we need in our lives in order to reach our growth goals. Good morning, Terrence. Thank you so much for coming in. Those of you that are jumping in on the live, please get in the comments. Let me know where you're from. Let me know who you are and where you're from, and I'd love to get to know a bit more about you. And please don't hesitate to engage in the conversation. This is an interactive conversation, so I would love to hear from you, your thoughts, your opinions, your wins, your successes, any value that you have to add to the conversation as it relates to the topic at hand. I am happy to hear from you. Bell, thank you so much for coming in the room on this morning. I appreciate you. This morning, again, we are talking about the law of environment. The law of environment, which basically, in a nutshell, it says it doesn't matter where you come from, and it simply matters where you're going. In that law of environment, we assess where we are right now, the people, place, things, and stuff that are in our environment. And those things, are they conducive to the growth that we want to achieve? Are they conducive? Is the environment that I'm currently in, is it conducive with the level of success that I want to achieve in my life? And if the answer to that is yes, then that is wonderful. If the answer is, I don't know, maybe, I don't know, no, they're not, this where I'm at is not conducive, then the only person that is responsible for that change is you. We as individuals are completely responsible for creating the change that we need in order to reach the levels of success that we desire in our life. And listen, guys, I know many of you are coming into the room. Thank you so much. Let's hit those like, share, and subscribe buttons, and let's get this message out to as many people as possible. If it's your first time tuning in, thank you so much for tuning in. And I hope that you hear a nugget, a tool, a gem on this morning that you can put in your toolbox that can help you grow both personally and professionally. When we're talking about the law of environment, this is another area where we have to learn to overcome growing pains. When we're talking about the law of environment, it is an area where we have to learn how to overcome growing pains. What do I mean by that? A lot of times, the environments that we can find ourselves in as adults, these are places that we're quite comfortable in. We're very comfortable in it. We've been maneuvering in this space for a long time, and we know how to make it work. And that's whether we like it or not. Oftentimes, we can find ourselves in difficult situations consistently, continually, that we don't like and wonder why this same thing keeps happening over and over and over again. It keeps happening over and over and over again because you have not done anything different to change your environment. You have not done anything different to change your level of association. That's why that cycle keeps happening over and over and over again in your life. But when we step out into the unknown, when we're willing to do something that we've never done in order to have something that we've never had, that's called overcoming a growing pain. That's called stepping outside of the box. That's called overcoming fear. Like, I don't know what's on the other side, but it's got to be better than what I'm doing right now. Oftentimes we find ourselves going through those cycles of misery continuously because we understand how to maneuver in those cycles. We understand, um, we understand that pain point, and we understand how to maneuver through it. We don't like it. We want to be different, but sometimes fear can mask itself as common sense. And we'll say, well, common sense will tell me I know what I'm doing right here, so I better not step outside and do something new because I don't know what's on that other side. No, that's fear. Let's overcome that fear, step into the unknown, dare to do something different, dare to create new associations, and watch how things will change. I see we've got some comments popping up right here. Darlene from Louisiana says, I love that you are personable and interactive. That's what a conversation is all about. That's what a conversation. Thank you so much, sis. Some lives I catch the host and just love to hear themselves talk and just want to be heard. So thank you for the divine connection. I appreciate you so much, sis. I appreciate you. What's a conversation if you can't talk to, if the other person doesn't have an opportunity to take part in the conversation? Thank you so much. Deanna, thank you, woman of God. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Deanna says, stepping outside of your comfort zone. Yes, we have to step outside of our comfort zone. Dare to be different. Dare to do something different. Amen. Sarah Gross, thank you so much for coming on, and appreciate the love and support there, sis. Blessings to you. Blessings to you. I appreciate you this morning. This morning, we are talking about the law of environment and what that means and how we as individuals are responsible, personally responsible for creating the changes that we need to see and experience in our lives in order to reach the level of success that we desire to see. Amen. Amen. And Deanna says this is what she's learned to do. That's amazing, woman of God. I'm learning to do it as well. Amen. I think that this is a principle that no matter what level you reach in your life of success, that this is a principle that we will exercise continuously because it challenges us up. It challenges us and it makes us check ourselves. One of the things I don't know if you guys have heard it before, and it speaks to it in the book, and many amazing speakers and coaches speak to this as well. If you're showing up in a place and you are the smartest person in the room, if you're showing up in a place and you are the person that everybody else looks to, and that's continuously everywhere around you, that means you need to show up in some new places. Yes, Each of us are leaders in our own right, and there are people that we're called to lead, to teach, to grow, and to develop. Amen. And that's okay. But if everywhere you go, you are always the one doing the teaching and never in a position to do the learning, that means you need to stretch yourself and get into some new spaces. Amen. If find yourself in an environment where you're sharing what you've learned, your thoughts, your ideas, and people are looking at you side eye and saying, what she thinks she doing, who he think he is, you need to change your environment. Those are not your people. They cannot help you grow to the next level that you need to be at. Amen. Why am I saying this? Because as adults, as individuals, we are personally responsible for creating the change in our lives that we need to see in order to reach the level of success that we want to reach, right? One of the things that we talk about, that we'll talk about in our mastermind sessions as we're growing, learning and growing through a 5-week study, is that we're not always a victim. Now, sometimes people do you wrong. Sometimes our environment is very toxic and it's not right. But by and large, we're not victims because we have the power to change. No is anointed, right? We have the power to create change in our lives. And what we're going to do in this 5-week mastermind is we're going to learn how to activate that power, step into that power, own it, and begin to create the changes that we need to see in order to become the individual that we desire to reach the level of success that we want to reach. But on the live this morning, I want to ask you just a couple of questions, just a few questions as it relates to overcoming growing pains and changing the things that need to be changed in our lives in order to reach the level of success that we want to have. And the first question is there a person in your life that adds value to you, that nourishes you, that is always able to drop a nugget of wisdom on you that makes you think about it? So, doing this self-assessment, we're looking at the environment that we currently find ourselves in, our closest association. Is there someone in your life that is building you, that continuously builds you? Number two, ask yourself this question: what is it that I'm currently doing right now that makes me feel alive? Or what is it that I would love to do that will make me feel alive, that my deepest desire, the goal that I want to achieve? And number three, the third question is, what in my life right now currently sustains me? What in my life right now currently sustains me? So that's three questions. Question number one: who is it in your life that adds value to your life, that is building you up and encouraging you? Two, what is it that you're doing in your life right now that makes you feel alive? And three, what is it that you're doing in your life or you desire to do in your life that helps to sustain you? And when I say sustain, I mean something that you're doing that helps you continuously reach your growth goals. Because right now, what we're talking about is being responsible for the change that you want to see in your life. Those are three great questions, and I'm going to put those questions in the chat. I know those are three big questions, and if any of you that are watching here on the line and will perhaps be watching in the replay, if you have an answer to that question, jump in the chat. Let me hear from you. Any one of the questions, if you have an answer for the question, jump in the chat. Or if you're saying, Laquita, yeah, I heard the question, but kind of what do you mean by that? Go ahead and pop into the chat and let me know your questions, your thoughts, and your ideas on the three things that I just dropped on you. Let's see what Deanna says. These are easy. However, hard questions for me to answer honestly. You know what, says that's a fair point. That is a fair point. I mean, they can be very straightforward questions, but oftentimes just because the question is straightforward does not mean that the answer is. Sometimes that those answers require some thought, and that's okay. Keep these questions, write them down, meditate on them, think on them. journal about them throughout the course of the week. And when we pop back in on Wednesday, let me know your thoughts on them. So I will ask the question again. Thank you so much, Fancy, for popping in the room this morning. I appreciate you. I'm going to go ahead and put those questions. I'm going to ask those questions again. Question number 1. Do you have a person in your life that nourishes you, that builds you, that helps you to grow and develop into the best version of yourself? Who in your life fits that role? Someone in your life that helps to build you, to nourish you, to help you grow into the next best version of yourself. Question number 2. What keeps you alive? What is it that you're currently doing in your life that keeps you alive, that keeps you motivated, that keeps you active? 3. What is it that you're doing in your life right now that sustains you? What is it that you're doing in your life, or that you would love to do in your life, that sustains you? These are 3 questions, and these 3 questions should cause us to reflect on ourselves being responsible for the change that we want to see in our lives. These are 3 powerful questions, kind of straightforward and to the point, but maybe the answer isn't as straightforward as what we would like them to be. And Deanna says that as I ask the question, she's rolling through her mind, seeking an answer. Yeah, let's think. Sometimes we have to think on it. We don't have like a quick, you are so welcome, Fancy. We don't have like a quick, ready answer. And that's okay, because the best questions are the questions that require thought. Amen. The best questions are the questions that require thought, that require us to examine ourselves, to examine our life. Because here we're talking about the law of environment. And in order to answer those questions, we have to look at our environment. Are the people who were closely associated to us, are they healthy for me? Are they adding value to me? These questions challenge us. And Deanna, Darlene, let's see what Dar has to say. She says, it's me versus me. I can't pour from an empty cup. Amen. No one can lead me until I learn to discipline myself into wanting to be led. So far now, it's me. 2, she's obsessed in being a better person and advancing her life status. And there is no limit to my living and learning, strengthening and maintaining my peace. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much for those answers. Thank you so much for those answers and that transparency. And great answers, by the way. Absolutely great answers. Great questions do challenge us, Fancy. Thank you. Absolutely great questions do challenge us. And listen, guys, those of you that are listening on the live and on the replay, please hit those like, share, and subscribe buttons. Let's get this broadcast out to as many people as possible. If you're just popping onto the live, let me know who you are and where you're from. And if you're listening, let me know if you found any value in the conversations that we're having. I would love to have each of you partner with me on my upcoming mastermind, 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth, where we will not only be talking about more in depth about the law of environment, but we'll be talking about the 15 laws as well, and getting a chance to dive into this conversation in great depth over the course of 5 weeks. And the goal for that, for those that are participating in that mastermind, is to set ourselves up for success and to set a foundation for a personal growth plan that we can use as a benchmark to reach the levels of success that we want to reach in 2023 and beyond, both personally and professionally. So I would love to have you guys join me for that mastermind coming up in February of 2023. But we're looking at the law of environment. I just want to read a little excerpt here for you, if I could. Some of the things when we're looking at our environment, does our environment, is it attached, or does it speak to our strengths or our weaknesses? Oftentimes we allowed ourselves to be in environments that don't stretch us or build our areas of weakness, but allow us to function at our fullest in our areas of strength. And that doesn't create balance. Amen. Yes, we should show up in spaces, in environments where our strengths are are what we're using, but we also should put ourselves in environments that challenge us to grow in the areas of our weaknesses. Deanna, great question. Great question. So I have shared the details of this mastermind on my social media platforms, but what I will do today, will absolutely put the link, the registration link here in the chat today for the mastermind so that you guys can take a look at it. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me on my various social media platforms in order to ask me a question. If you have a question about the mastermind and everything that it details, I will be more than happy to give you that information. I will go ahead right now, if you give me just a moment, and put some of that information right here in the chat as well, for those of you that are considering joining us across that 5 weeks there, from February to March. I believe that you would definitely be blessed in that environment, because the best place to be for me, I love to be in spaces where I am sitting around like minded individuals, where we can share in a place of transparency and honesty to help each other grow and develop into the best versions of ourselves. So let me drop this information really quickly here in the chat to give you an idea of what to expect and what all will be included in that mastermind. So here we go. This is going to be a little bit of a long comment. I apologize for that. You should be able to see that popping up in your comments there. If you don't see it, please let me know. It should be popping up. Yep, it should be popping up there. I see you're joining us from Facebook, Deanna. That should be popping up right there on Facebook. And I will put a shorter one there as well. So, but before we close, I want to make sure that I'll leave just one or two more things with you before we pop off. Um, and one of the last questions here is, what are you learning in your current environment that you're in right now? Are you learning? And if you are, what are you learning? Are you learning things that are adding value to your life? Or are you learning things that are subtracting from you? Life should all be all about addition and multiplication, adding value. It should never be about division and subtraction. What are you learning in the environment that you are in? Is that environment causing you to grow? Is it causing you to multiply? Is it causing you adding any value to your life in what and where you find yourself at right now? In those questions that we've asked, meditate on those. I love to hear your responses coming up on Wednesday, Wednesday. I love to hear your responses. And again, if you have any questions about my upcoming mastermind, there's some information about it right here in the chat. I will also go ahead and put the link up as well, here in the chat. I'll put it up on the screen for those of you to see if you want to check out that 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth mastermind that I will be hosting starting in February. We will meet every Thursday for 5 weeks. We'll meet every Thursday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time starting on February the 2nd. Hello, Stephanie Mary. Thank you so much for joining us on the live this morning. I appreciate you. Hope that you have heard something that's added some value in your life. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to get in the comment section. I do go back and check those comment sections, as well as hit the like, share, and subscribe buttons for those of you that are joining us. Let's get this broadcast out to as many people as possible. There is the link that you can use to register and to find out more information about my upcoming mastermind that is starting in February. It is starting February The second, which is a Thursday evening, every Thursday evening for 5 weeks, we'll meet at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time via Zoom, and we will mastermind through the 15 invaluable laws of growth. I will also be sharing on my social media more information about this, especially as it draws near. The spaces are limited. So if you want to jump in and become a part of that mastermind, please reach out to me and we can get you sorted out. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, Stephanie. There is a cost for the mastermind. There is a book that you also have to purchase. You have to purchase the 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. And I will include a link here in the chat as well to purchase the reading material. And if you look at the chat, I'm also going to share with you the cost for this as well. Let me put that in here. Great question, Stephanie. Thank you so much for asking. Here we go. There is the link to purchase the reading material. And here also is what you can expect to receive from the mastermind. And the cost of that mastermind is $249.99 for that for participating in the 5 weeks of the mastermind. And there you go. So if you have any more questions, thank you for asking that question, Stephanie. Great question. If you have any more questions about what all is included, I've given you just a few details here in the chat this morning about the things that are included in that 5-week mastermind session. But if those don't answer your questions, you have some more specific questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me via social media. Reach out to me in my DM, or you can go to my website at www.laquitamonley.com. Fill out the contact us form, and I will be more than happy to email you back as well concerning your questions. So listen, guys, it has been wonderful speaking with you on this morning. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day to join me here on the Swag Her Magazine page, as well as in the Laquita's Toolbox community. You guys be blessed and have an amazing rest of your day. Take care. God bless.